Hey gang, out and about today doing a little more research on the book, recording a couple of videos, doing a couple of tributes. It's Saturday afternoon, Salem, Indiana, up at Crown Hill Cemetery, the largest cemetery that I know of in Washington County, quite obviously. A gorgeous place. And today we're visiting a grave of a fellow who has had volumes of books written about him and what he did in his life. And doesn't need much research, but I feel like I personally owe him, because if it wasn't for what he did for West Baden and Springs Valley, I'd not have a job over there. So I'll show you his tomb here, tell you who he is. So I don't know if you can tell or not, but this is the tomb of Lee Sinclair. So pretty fancy. Now Lee, he bought the West Baden Resort back in the late 1800s. He was involved in the New Albany State Bank. He was involved in the Salem State Bank, and just a heck of a businessman for his time. And anyhow, the West Baden Resort burned down on him, and Lee decided that he wanted to build it back bigger and better than it ever was, and make it the Carlsbad of the United States. He did a heck of a job, and built the dome at a time when all the engineers were telling him that it just couldn't be done. It was the eighth wonder of the world, ninth wonder of the world. And he wouldn't take no for an answer, so he kept asking engineers till he found a young one that said, "I can do that," and I'll be damned if they didn't do it. Now, I don't know any liquor stories directly related to Mr. Sinclair, though I know gambling in the valley really got its start with Mr. Sinclair. Him and Charles Edward Ballard. Ballard had started a little gaming room just right off the property there where West Baden is at now, and was doing pretty good with it. He was doing well enough that Lee Sinclair came to him and said, "Hey, I want you to run my gambling room here at the Dome." So Sinclair went there and he ran that, or Ballard went there and he ran that room and did really well with it. And years later, Charles Ballard, he's got some liquor connected to him, but he ended up buying the Dome. He ended up buying the French Lick Hotel from Sinclair's daughter. He had the Brown Hotel, had any number of casinos there in the valley, and really Ballard's the one that built that valley up into what it became at one point in time back in the 20s and 30s. 20s more than anything. 30s it kind of dropped off. But now this is supposition on my behalf, and I would love to get in there and see this place I'll tell you about with Charles Edward Ballard. He at one point in time he owned the Willstem Ranch, and I've reached out to the owner, and I'm not getting anything back from him, though I hope I do eventually, so I'd love to research it some more. And there's a great big pot still on that property right next to the train trestle, and it's been supposed and theorized that Ballard, of course, owned that still, and had it right there by the train trestle, because that train run right into French Lick in West Baden from there by Paoli, and we believe he was making liquor there and putting it on the train and just carting it right into town. Now that'd be something to see, wouldn't it? But I come by here every once in a while and kind of think Mr. Sinclair, again, I don't think if it wasn't for Lee Sinclair, native from my own county, I wouldn't have a job. If you've never been up here to Crown Hill, it's worth seeing if you're interested in history and cemeteries. It's a beautiful place. A lot of graves here. There's several distillers from my county buried here, and you can spend a whole day here just exploring the history. You folks have a good one.